Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that was not actually just created, it was the actual first one that worked, because they tried to create other things and they didn't work, but Bitcoin was the first one that worked.
Bitcoin kind of just does like a little bit of everything, which I believe it's super capable of disrupting the market unlike any other investment vehicle out there.
If we divide $200 trillion by 21 million, because that's how many Bitcoins there are, it is $10 million per Bitcoin.
I see it going a lot higher than $10 million.
Bitcoin is currency. It is in competition with other store of value assets like gold, like real estate, like expensive, limited art and cars. It's also in the market of fiat currencies.
As soon as you understand that not even every single millionaire is going to be able to hold on to at least one Bitcoin, you kind of get to a point where you're like, oh shit, I better get my hands on one of these as fast as I possibly can, because
today we are talking about the thing that, if you know me, you know I'm pretty obsessed about, crypto. And I know you Bitcoin maxis are out there already watching this being like, Bitcoin's different. I know. We're going to talk about it. And instead, if you're brand new and you're like, girl, I don't even understand what Bitcoin is, what crypto is. Isn't it a scam? Isn't it the CIA? We're going to talk about all this stuff.
Yep.
What do you think about crypto, huh?
I think it's for all people, all ages, anybody that wants to get into it. It's there for you to get into. And I'll just say, don't be fooled by the mainstream media. And maybe it's telling you that it's extremely risky, extremely dangerous. There is truth to that, but Corinne's going to give you a whole overview that you probably haven't experienced before.
Thanks. Yeah. And on that, I really agree with you that like crypto, but especially Bitcoin, really is for anybody, because I think a lot of people think like, oh, like if I'm not an investor or a trader, then like I don't get into stocks, so why would I like get into crypto?
Yep.
But there's a lot happening in the world right now, and we're only going to touch on little bits of it today because we kind of want to bring it to a little bit more of like a beginner level today. But it is so important for every single person to at least understand what Bitcoin is. So this is super key.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's not enough information out there right now for just your basic everyday beginner to understand how to navigate through the wild, wild west, as you like to call it.
The Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Been the Wild Wild West. So Bitcoin was created in 2008 and it was launched in 2009. And Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that was not actually just created, it was the actual first one that worked, because they tried to create other things and they didn't work, but Bitcoin was the first one that worked. And since then, it's been the wild, wild west. Now things are really starting to shift. And that's why I think there has been a lot of not just speculation, but so many people being like, it's really high risk, don't invest in it, it's a big bubble and things like that, because we were going through the start of the creation and the evolution and the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And so there has been a lot of scams. There still will be. That's why we need to be careful and we need to understand what we're actually doing. And we need to understand what these assets are. So it has been a wild, wild west. But things are shifting and changing. And if you think that governments, big entities, corporations are just getting into this as a potential, maybe, well, I've got some news for you. What we do as retail investors, because I don't know about you all, but I don't have billions of dollars like big institutions and countries do, right? So we're retail investors. What we do is that we follow the big money. And what's the big money doing right now? They're shifting into Bitcoin. They're shifting into crypto. Anyway, I'm already going on a tangent over here, but let's bring it back.
Passion.
Yeah, I do talk about this all day, every day. It's like God, Jesus. I mean, it's like God, Bitcoin, crypto, trading, AI with Alex. But anyways, there's a bajillion things I want to say. But from all the times that you've heard me say bajillion things about crypto and Bitcoin, if you had a brand new person right in front of you right now, how would you explain to them what is cryptocurrency and then what is Bitcoin?
It took me a while to understand, but intuitively, I knew this from the very beginning that Bitcoin and crypto were two very different things. I believe deep down inside of my heart that I'm a very long-term thinking person, and I like stable, safe assets that take time to build. Now, there's the other side of things where you want to get in, you want to make money fast, etc., and it's really risky. That's pretty much how I would describe the rest of crypto. They're great technologies. There's great potential with them. You can make money, but it's not something that I personally see for the majority of it as holding long-term, unlike Bitcoin. Now, my definition of Bitcoin's changed a lot since I've been first introduced to it. When I was first introduced to it, I really had no idea what it was. And we could probably talk about this later. When I first was introduced to Bitcoin, I've told you this.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of interesting experiences with Bitcoin. It was just meant to be in my life, especially with Corinne kind of popping up. But how I would describe Bitcoin to a new person is it's the best money, essentially. It's the better money. A lot of people might look at Bitcoin as an investment, a way to protect your wealth against inflationary currency, your storage of wealth, and people hoard Bitcoin, but it truly is the better money, and it was designed to be used as a currency, not for us just to stockpile it forever. It's just that coincidentally, the people that got in early enough, aka you and I,
in 2025, still early.
2025 is still early. There's still time. Corinne talks about this a lot. We're at the point right now where the majority of people think it's too late, but we're actually right at the point where we're going to see the majority of gains actually happen. So if you are waiting for that, definitely buckle up and get researching.
Get learning.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Don't just buy Bitcoin.
No.
If you don't know what it is, research it, because the way that it moves, you're not going to be able to hold it. Even we've made mistakes holding it, and we would like to think that we know what it is pretty well. I'm not going to lie. There has been times where we have not been fully convicted of going all in on it. We are very open to Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin, and we are very involved in the ecosystem, hence the reason why we're filming this. But it can be tough, especially when price is going down 50% and when there's noise and there's people around you telling you, isn't it dead? But it's actually not. So this is why it's really important to surround yourself with the right people, and most importantly, to really know what it is that you're holding. And once you actually find that out, you're going to be I want to be in there instead of participating in this fiat ecosystem.
Exactly. So I love all of that. So much to break down. Bringing it back to just helping you all understand. And even if you're maybe less new to crypto, the cryptocurrency space, I want you to think about that Bitcoin is currency. It is in competition with other store of value assets like gold, like real estate, like expensive, limited art and cars. I don't know anything about that field in terms of storage of value, but some people do that. That's how they store the value of their money. Some people do it in specific types of real estate. So Bitcoin is in that realm. And it's also in the market of fiat currencies.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, but what are you doing with US dollars, with whatever fiat currency you currently have? You're storing value in it. Yeah. That piece of paper, or now we just see it on a little numbers thing on your phone, right, in your bank account, you're choosing to store energy, value that you have worked for in that currency.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin is in competition with those trillions and trillions of dollars. Now, instead, when we talk about what we call altcoins, which are alternative coins, and here we're talking about every single other cryptocurrency, essentially you're looking at technologies that are being adopted. You could even go as far as saying companies that are being used or that you can invest in and that are going to bring and are bringing new tech into this, what I continue to call the intelligence era. So that I kind of see it more competing with stocks. in the stock market in comparison to Bitcoin, where it is money. And that's why it's so important in the crypto space, because they're all cryptocurrencies. They're all digital money on the blockchain and so on and so forth. That's another lesson for another time. Essentially, they are two different things, but all types of cryptocurrencies. And I think that's really important to understand. And I think that's like the base layer of understanding as well, then how you operate in each one. Because if you are a person who doesn't want to be a trader, doesn't want to be an investor, no worries. Just start thinking about, where are you storing your money? Because currently, if you continue to store your money in fiat currencies, we have a really fun thing called inflation.
Yeah. We've never really had anything like Bitcoin before. If you really think about it as a store of your wealth, store value, and also simultaneously being so liquid that you can just spend it on day-to-day items and your money just keeps going up anyways. It's incredibly efficient. Like, you're able to send money across the world within a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen anything like that. I mean, they're trying now, I believe, with FedNow. You can send a wire transfer with them across the world within minutes, but still, like, they're basically catching up in terms of technology with Bitcoin, or they're trying to. And it's not easy because they have these archaic systems put in place right now that just don't make sense anymore. And I would like you to explain this, because I heard you talking about it earlier. But fiat money, for example, we needed it. It was the technology of the time. I believe you said during the Second World War?
No, it was prior to that. I would need like my graphs and charts and everything on me. I don't have it on me. But essentially, what we want to think about is, like, fiat currency was the technology that we needed during like the Industrial Revolution. And that was physical, right? It was so hard for them to all be able to like carry around coins of gold and big bars of gold. And so it was so much easier to just have fiat currency. Literally started with like an IOU, where it's like, okay, the bank holds a certain amount of gold. You have a piece of paper that's like, all right, so-and-so has this much gold in the bank. And so you could go around and like transact with it in a much simpler way. And so that was like, the technology of what we needed back then. But now you fast forward to where it is that we are today. And like, we're all international. We're all super connected. Like, thanks to the technology of the internet, we've all been able to connect with one another. Like, we're so international, like in every realm of life, and it seems crazy still to me that in 2025, you have to wait 3 to 5 business days to do a bank transfer to like a place across the world. That's wild. We can't have that. We need things that are faster. But
it's wild.
Yeah, that's definitely one aspect of it that's super important. But what I think makes Bitcoin really different is that there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. And that's a really key thing that I think really made me have the click when I first started getting into this space.
Yeah.
And I started to understand that Bitcoin really is limited. It really is a finite asset. I know that there are many people that are like, and we can talk about all the myths. Drop all your myths in the comments. So we'll do a myths only session. There are so many people that are like, but Bitcoin, they can go and just change the code and they can go and create more Bitcoin. So it's not a finite asset. It's not limited. It's created by the CIA, whoever Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin. He can just go in there, blah, 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 to go and change it, right?
Yeah.
Now there's lots of different things around this, but once again, I want to keep this simple. The thing with Bitcoin, once you start to understand how it's created, is that its coding is created for majority rules. Okay?
Yep.
So who are the majority rulers? Who is the people that are essentially voting for whether they want something to change or not? They're actually the people that hold, in simple words, the miners, the hardware that go and approve transactions, keep the blockchain safe. And who are these people that are miners? It can be anybody in the world. Like it can be you and me. We can just go, we can participate in it. We can have nodes. We can participate in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Cheap now too.
Yeah, it's getting cheaper and cheaper for people to be able to participate in this. And that's what Satoshi Nakamoto created it for on purpose, because essentially he was like, he, she, we don't know. Them, maybe it was a group of people. We don't know who is or was. But it was created on purpose so that it is what we call decentralized. So imagine all these people scattered around the world. They can be whoever you can think of in any country that you can think of. And they all have these, think of them just like computers that are sitting at their houses, right?
Yeah.
And so if they ever wanted to change the code of Bitcoin, what they would do is they would need to go out and send an approval for majority, 51% of these miners spread across the world to say, yes, we agree, we want to change it. I recommend that you go and look up. It's called the Block Size Wars. 1st of August, 2017. 1st of August, really great date, by the way, guys. I accept Bitcoin for my birthday. But essentially what happened is they were trying to change the block size, which I'm not going to get into in this, but they were trying to change something within Bitcoin. And that was such a key battle that proved how the Bitcoin ecosystem is so strong and solid and really wanting to keep things decentralized that they won and nothing was changed. And since then, Bitcoin has just gotten more decentralized, more stronger in terms of energy and power and how much it's growing, that it's becoming literally more and more impossible. I mean, never say never, but it's becoming really, really hard for anything to change. So even if the CIA created it, it's literally, once again, I'm going to say never, but close to impossible. The probability is so small that they would even be able to do anything with it.
Kind of reflecting on what you were saying about, kind of comparing gold to Bitcoin a little bit. And essentially the mechanism of Bitcoin is very challenging for people to really change anything, like its core nature, without an agreement between at least 51% of the miners, which is basically impossible. And there will be a lot of people out there who argue that, there's nothing backing it, or they don't see the value in it like they see the value in gold, for example.
Yeah.
Whereas gold, yes, gold, there is a limited supply as far as we know it, but it's almost like every single time the price of gold changes, another country found another cave full of gold worth billions of dollars to manipulate the price. And then who knows how far away we are from us being able to shoot a rocket up into space and mine asteroids and get all this gold. We probably already have the technology. We're just not being told. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see if they pull that out to manipulate the price of gold to come down based on the rally that it's been going on lately. As it currently stands, we don't have that threat with Bitcoin. That really made it click for me when you came into my life and you started talking about how there's only 21 million of them. When you start to look at how nearly impossible it is to change that, you start to realize like, wow, it doesn't take a math whiz to calculate the total number of people in the world. You don't even have to go to that extent. Just calculate the total number of millionaires in the world. And as soon as you understand that not even every single millionaire is going to be able to hold on to at least one Bitcoin, you kind of get to a point where you're like, oh shit, I better get my hands on one of these as fast as I possibly can, because it's putting you at top 21 million in the entire world. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. So you better be careful with Bitcoin too, because if we look back on what happened with taking the US dollar off the gold standard, that basically turned money or fiat currency into crap. Because there was, it's just the US military and people's belief backing it. And honestly, it's not even people's belief anymore, unfortunately. People just don't even know what money is. But with Bitcoin, I got to be careful with what I say here because I don't want to get in trouble. But just make sure that you've got your private keys is all I'm going to say.
For those that don't know, a private key is literally, think about it like a password to your Bitcoin, to whatever cryptocurrency. Whoever has that password, which is called a private key, whoever has that then has access to your crypto. So it's really important that is something that you know that you keep stored safely and secured, and that you don't go and just like give it out to anybody, no support team, exchange, IRS, taxation, and nobody should have access to that private key except for you.
Don't even put it on your phone.
No
technology. It's got to be old age, old ways. Yes.
Back to Panama.
Yeah.
Put it in a rock with the, what is it? Like the hammer and you chisel it in a rock.
Yeah. And brand it. I mean, there's actually a lot of sophisticated ways that people go about keeping this thing under wraps.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways. So get creative, go out and, do some research around that. That's a really important point. And I think one of the other key things is, like you said, only 21 million Bitcoins, who's going to get their hands on one? Now, don't freak out because you might be like, well, Corinne and Alex, I'm going to exit out of here because ain't no way I'm going to have 100K USD laying around to buy a full Bitcoin. The beautiful thing is that Bitcoin was also created so that it goes to 100 million fractions. So up to the 8th decimal, you can buy portions of a Bitcoin. We call them Satoshis.
Yeah.
One Satoshi is worth like less than 1 cent right now, if I'm not mistaken. So you can actually start to, we say stack sats, which is stacking Satoshis. Mm-hmm. It's starting to accumulate even just parts of a Bitcoin, which is really important. I know actually there are some places around the world that they price things in sats.
Yeah.
So
remember, we've had this conversation just a long time ago. I feel like it was closer to when we first started dating. And I remember telling you that we need to really stop seeing the value of Bitcoin in terms of US dollars.
Yes.
Seeing it as, you're spending in terms of Bitcoins or Satoshis. Like, this has been a theory of mine for a while. And I used to think that was out of my mind, but now I don't think I'm like crazy enough So as Corinne explained, there's a lot of Satoshis inside of one Bitcoin. I believe 100 million Satoshis inside of one full Bitcoin. And as Corinne said, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin to own some Bitcoin. Like, you can just dollar cost average, buy $10 a day, just like you would any other S&P 500 stock, ETF, etc. So definitely do that. Start building up your portfolio slowly after you've researched it and understood what it is. But also, getting back to my theory, I've thought that even years ago, Bitcoin is going to easily reach $100 million because I just said, 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin, $1 per Satoshi. I started pricing things in terms of Satoshis. That's why it's so important to stack Satoshis. 3,000 Satoshis right now might only be worth, $5, like $3. But in the future, when it's worth $1 per Satoshi, it's going to be worth $3,000. And then also, there's even predictions coming out now from these major hedge funds or the ones that do the ETFs that are saying by the year 2040 or 2030 something, they're predicting that each Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 billion. And I feel more convicted than ever. I know we were talking about this earlier, like we've had trouble. We're fully convicted now, by the way.
It's been a roller coaster, but we've gotten here.
It's been a roller coaster, but after enough seasons, I can confidently say that we're here for the long term.
Yeah.
And I'm more convicted than ever that it's absolutely capable of reaching $1 billion. What do you think about that?
Stay tuned, because at the end of this episode, I'm actually going to fully break down the math for you math heads about how it's so possible that Bitcoin will hit. And we're going to go conservative here, because if you know me, I'm quite a low risk go. I don't want massive risks in my life. I need to sleep at peace at night. That's why I have a man that it's the man higher risk things to life, but intelligently. Always. Yeah. Anyway, so
you gotta take a risk here and there.
Yeah, so I am definitely more like low risk and conservative, but I'm going to show you how Bitcoin could very easily reach $1 million per Bitcoin.
Yeah, $1 million is bound to happen for sure.
So we've spoken about a lot of different things. We've started to introduce cryptocurrencies, the difference between Bitcoin, altcoin, so all the other cryptocurrencies, what markets they are competing in.
Yeah.
What makes Bitcoin so valuable and why we are really convicted, or we've touched surface level, but hopefully it's enough to get you going, get you moving, get you thinking. Inside of the Revival Hub, we actually have a Bitcoin 101 complete free little course that is going to be released super soon. So if you have not had a chance to jump in the hub yet, jump in there. We're getting things rocking and rolling in there. And that's going to be, if I didn't say it, it's a completely free Bitcoin 101 course to get you started.
Stay tuned. That's going to be like our catchphrase.
Stay tuned. That's cute. I like that.
We're going to have to come up with like a plethora of different catchphrases.
Plethora. So fancy. A plethora.
I'll start dropping in these words into your guys' paradigm. I'll just drop them in randomly because there's a lot of words that are like, I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole, but we'll introduce fancy words.
He'll introduce fancy words. I'm in English as a second language, just struggling.
No, she's super smart. Don't let her fool you.
Thanks. But, we've spoken about a lot of different things, but I want to just kind of come back as well to, cool, Corinne, I'm here. I'm not a trader. I'm not an investor. You're saying, all right, our fiat dollar is not backed by gold anymore. It's just continuing to get printed and everything's getting more expensive. Inflation is so real. Inflation is exponential, right? Really key. So what do? I just buy and hold Bitcoin, but how do I apply this to my everyday life? And I think that's a big question that a lot of people have. Yeah. And, I've seen even students of mine be like, Corinne, but what am I going to do? Just buy it and hold it and keep it there? What are some things that you've seen and even, in our day-to-day life that we use to actually be able to use Bitcoin instead of using fiat currencies?
Yeah. When it comes to being able to pick up a coffee, you can use Fold. So Fold is another piece of technology or an app that we actually use. You can download the app. This isn't a sponsored video in any shape, way, or form, but we will drop our affiliate link down below in case you guys do want to support us. We just get a little bit of Bitcoin, I believe, if you sign up through that. It just really helps us and helps us to continue bringing awesome videos like these to you guys. But Fold is awesome.
And you guys get $10 in Bitcoin straight away.
If you were listening to anything we were saying earlier, you're going to go get those ASAP. Yes. But Fold is great. It's not a credit card. Fold is a debit card. Everywhere you spend, you can get money back in terms of sats. Even if it's smaller percentages, you got to think about it. Where are you shopping on a day-to-day basis? Are you earning any money when you purchase anything anyways? So if you can earn a little bit back when you're spending your money that you've worked hard for, you might as well take advantage of it and do it because, just free money, free Bitcoin. Let's go.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the simplest ways. Now, I know that Fold is primarily North America. So if you are in other countries, there are different exchanges that now are giving out cards as well. So like Alex said, there are going to be debit cards. There are also some exchanges that are starting to give out credit cards. Now, be very careful with the credit cards. Always read the fine print because there are some specific rules and different things. And even some of the cashback at times, you can't then even withdraw it and actually then become in ownership of it. Because remember, with any exchanges, these are centralized. So you don't have your private keys. You don't have another thing that I didn't introduce you today, but we'll get there, which is called a recovery phrase. So they do hold custody over your crypto, over your Bitcoin in this case. So there are a few things to just take into consideration, but it's just more so to let you all know that this is the beginning. You already can start to use Bitcoin in your day-to-day spendings.
You can certainly use it. We're just starting to see it with luxury brands that are accepting Bitcoin in terms of payment for their products and services. Starbucks, I believe, even recently is now accepting or will be accepting soon Bitcoin for coffee. And I don't know if that's going to be everywhere right away. I don't know if it's Starbucks. Don't quote me on that, but it was a big brand. I believe it had to do with coffee. And I would just say, if you want to participate in the ecosystem, yes, obviously hold it, but then get involved with other Bitcoin communities. I mean, I'm sure if you're here and you're inside of the Revival, you'll be able to find like-minded individuals. And even if you are a business owner, you provide products and services, start implementing the ability for your clients to pay you in Bitcoin. And believe me, there is a lot of them out there. If you're going to be skeptical and think that it just doesn't exist and that's going to be your reality, but you get to choose if that's how you would like to receive a form of payment. And if you put it out there as an option and you start interacting with the right kinds of people, it won't be long before, oh, wow, like you start accepting payments in Bitcoin. Let's say you want to buy products and services and you see that somebody else gives the option to pay in Bitcoin, participate in the ecosystem, pay in Bitcoin, because you're contributing to the growth of that network.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, there's a lot of options already out there. I recommend that once again, you start doing some research, start looking around, get into the Revival Hub. More and more is going to come out there. We didn't even touch on even the ability to borrow against your Bitcoin. Yeah. There is so much here. We've talked about a lot of different things today, lots of little tips and tricks and things that you can start to research, understand, and just start even wrapping your mind around. 2030 is close. The year 2030 is right around the corner. Alex and I truly believe that by 2030, we are going to see a whole new completely different world, especially when it comes to the monetary system. It is happening right in front of our eyes, and so many people are missing it. So choose. You're so right. Yeah. It also is a choice. So if you're watching videos like this and you're watching this and choosing, I don't know, I recommend that you definitely look into it. You have free will, but it's happening and it's real. And these are cycles that happen in history and repeat every single time. And the wealth transfers get bigger and bigger every time that they happen. We've spoken about this. Yeah.
I just want to say it's so crazy how it's already 2025. It's about to be 2026. It literally feels like 2020 was yesterday. Maybe not yesterday, but last week or last month. Yeah. And time's freaking flied by so fast. And yeah, you better believe that by the year 2030, we're going to see significant changes. Every decade, there's the introduction of new technology or new ideas, and the world shifts rapidly, but it's not like it all just kind of happens at once. It's preparation, and then things are introduced. And in this case, with money, the fiat system, and, the shift of wealth that's happening right now, it's happening right in front of everyone, all of us, like Corinne said. And you just get to choose if you want to be a part of that or if you want to sit on the sidelines and eventually just be forced into it anyways.
Exactly.
You can be early or be with everybody else where there's no opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Should we have a look at some real math and make sure that Bitcoin actually can hit $1 million?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, even do it for 100 million or $1 billion too while you're at it.
Would do conservative. So as we were talking about before, Bitcoin is competing for a share of all store of value assets worldwide, right? So what is this market that Bitcoin could disrupt? Gold, for example, has 12 to 13 trillion dollars in its market. Cars, fine art, collectibles is a market of $6 trillion. Even the stock market, Bitcoin can take some of that and disrupt it. So that's $115 trillion. Real estate, $330 trillion. Wow. Bonds, $300 trillion, trillions. Fiat money, currently $120 trillion. Now you can pause, rewind, add these up, etc. Obviously, these are estimates because it's obviously constantly changing. But total, we're talking about a $900 trillion store of value market that Bitcoin can come in and disrupt. So let's say Bitcoin just goes and takes little bits from all of these markets in terms of money, right? That moves into Bitcoin. So imagine this, Bitcoin, if it captured 5% of the fine art, 15% of stocks, 15% of real estate, 30% of bonds, and 30% of fiat money, this would make Bitcoin's market cap a $200 trillion market cap. If we divide $200 trillion by 21 million, because that's how many Bitcoins there are, and see, here I am saying a million. I said the wrong number. It's even bigger than a million. Told you I'm conservative. If you do the math, it is $10 million per Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wow.
$10 million.
I see it going a lot higher than $10 million. I mean, I've already expressed. Yes, that's a very conservative estimate for sure. I mean, I just look at it as right now, this is a technology, again, unlike anything else we've seen before. History as we've seen it has crowned real estate and bonds. I mean, wow, bonds and real estate as the king of return on investment or store of wealth, etc. But Bitcoin kind of just does like a little bit of everything, which I believe it's super capable of disrupting the market on like any other investment vehicle out there. I see it just going so much further than anything else we have currently on the market today.
Yeah. So you guys have some homework to do.
Due next week.
That's the teacher in me coming out. It's like, all right, everybody, homework. But seriously, we don't want to sit here and tell you we can educate you, share with you things, but a smart investor knows what they are invested in. Warren Buffett, greatest investor of all time, always says you need to know what you are investing in, because like Alex was saying before, that's what builds your conviction. That's what, it's not even about like how much am I willing to risk in this asset? No. It's about how much can you stomach the volatility because you are aware of what that asset is doing long term. And if you understand fiat money and where it's currently going, and you understand Bitcoin and where it's going, you're going to be able to see that there's a very evident, obvious neon sign to where to store our money.
Some people just drive right on past it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there was a sign back there, officer. Like,
yeah, but don't let that be you.
Yeah, that's what the revival's for. We're here to help. We're the bright orange neon sign, and you can join the community.
I'm literally the bright orange neon sign.
Seriously.
But thank you for being here, guys.
Genuinely appreciate you all making it to the end of the video. Don't stop now. Click this video right here. This is the one that the YouTube algorithm is suggesting based on what you love to watch. So the algorithm does not lie. And don't forget to subscribe so you can continue watching more amazing videos just like this one. We're super excited to have you part of the revival, and we'll see you in the next episode.